Well, hello and welcome. In this blog, I want to talk about something I'm often asked in courses, and that's about how do we actually get accountability for risk and risk management into position job descriptions? Because we are starting to see a lot more around this notion of not only responsibility for risk management, but accountability as well. Now, I have potentially a different play on this or different perspective on this to others. I believe that you can be responsible for the management of a particular risk as a risk owner. However, if as a risk owner you have done everything in your power, i.e. you have made sure that every current control is effective, you have made sure that every new treatment has been implemented, you have continuously communicated and consulted with your stakeholder community about that particular risk. If you have done all of those things and the event still occurs, I do not believe that you can be held accountable. Because let's face it, risk management does not eliminate risk. What risk management is about is reducing the level of risk down to a residual that's within, if we can, our appetite as an organisation. But the reality is no matter what you do, stuff still happens. Now, of course, if the risk owner has not done the assessment of the current controls, have not put in the treatments and made sure those treatments were done, they are not communicating and consulting around a risk, and that risk does occur, then absolutely they can be held accountable because they have not done everything in their power to stop it happening. So it's a really fine line here. You can be accountable for certain aspects in terms of the management of the risk, but I do not believe that you can be held accountable for the outcomes that occur because, as I said, stuff happens within an organisation. In much the same way as we talk about control ownership, those who own controls within the organisation, they can be actually held accountable to make sure that that control is effective because that is completely within their sphere of influence. Risk, however, which we're talking about potential events and their outcomes, is not within our complete sphere of influence. And so therefore, the outcomes could still occur. So let's paint a particular scenario where the risk owner has done everything in their power to reduce the risk as low as they can. They are continually monitoring and reviewing the situation, but this risk continues to bubble along, whether it be at the low level or medium level, whatever. And that event occurs. It is unfair. And in fact, it's completely wrong for then the board or the senior executive of the organisation to then start going out and saying, well, you are responsible or accountable for that risk occurring. That is not correct, particularly if they can demonstrate they have done everything in their power. So when you're thinking about accountability into job descriptions around risk and risk management, they can be accountable for the management of the risk, but I do not believe they can be accountable for the outcomes if they have done everything around the management of that risk. It might be one that you want to discuss within your organisations and think about in terms of how are you going to do that. That's all I've got for this particular session, and as always, let's be careful out there.